day two ongoing of our interview about culture, and today we are hosting our second guest. And please kindly can you introduce yourself, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Christina. I'm 25 years old, and I'm currently doing my internship period in an association, a cultural association, which goes by the name of Studio Sound Lab. This is actually a recording studio primarily, but also deals with the different aspects of making music and handling management and other artistic sides of the whole music making thing. And this internship is actually coming to an end, and the chief of the studio actually asked me to extend the cooperation further beyond the deadline of the internship. So I'm hopefully going to stay here for a while, I think. As for the introduction, I am Italian, and I was born in Sardinia, which is an island in the middle of Mediterranean Sea. And there I attended my first proper course in sound engineering, which lasted 2 years. Later on, I came here to Bologna to actually start with my higher education. I started attending university, and in the meantime I also took up proper vocal training to become a singer, and that's how I ran into the guys who run the studio. So we started this cooperation first as internship, because SoundLab actually also employs students from the University of Bologna because of a convention they have. And so that's about it, I think.
Can you briefly tell us your experience in culture and youth field?
I've always been interested in culture. My main interest revolves around music, because that's the main part of what I do. As I said before, I did a sound engineering school, and beside this, I was also involved for a number of years in different musical projects I had through the course of the years. Sort of during the same time, I also used to run an online magazine, and that gave me the opportunity to come in touch with different musicians and bands from all over the world. I mainly dealt with underground bands. What I did was reviewing albums and sending out interviews. So this gave me a pretty sharp insight into how promotion works like. Also, I've always been involved in music also from the other side, so to speak, because I've been a musician myself for a number of years. I kind of learned how to play a couple instruments, and right now I'm studying singing. I've been doing so for 1 year and a half, and right now I'm here, and as I said, in this involved in this cultural association, and it's giving me the chance to put into practice many of the things I have learned through the course of the years.
Okay, I can see how big you are in your association, but we'd like to know, can you tell us how many volunteers do you have and how many employers at right now?
We have two main people who are stable employees. They are also the two people who actually run this association. As for the volunteers, that's a difficult number to pinpoint, because we actually have volunteers all the time. In this moment, we have 4, maybe 5 people doing internships, and then there's also an indefinite number of teachers who come here to actually teach their instruments to students or scholars. So it's actually a center of aggregation. We have new people, new volunteers all the time, a very large number of them actually.
Okay, what about salary between the youngster and those who are over 35? Do you have any difference when it comes to salary?
Well, actually we don't. There are no differences in terms of salaries because things here work around percentage. So there is not a definite salary. There are percentages that the studio takes from the fee that a teacher imposes or the likes. So no big difference, I'd say. The percentage is the same for everyone, so we're pretty much equal under this viewpoint.
Well, what about gender?
Gender.
In terms of salary, in terms of our work, is it gender balance, or sometimes you feel there is a responsibility from one side of gender is like being favored?
No, I think this is a place that pretty much gives everyone the opportunity to put their talents into practice. I myself, I'm a girl, but I actually earned the trust of the two guys who are on the studio. So if you actually have the skills, you can do something here. I'd say there is no discrimination whatsoever when it comes to gender. Sorry.
Now, like in personally, like you, according to all this experience you had, what can you say you learned? What you can say it have very added in your life?
You're asking me what this experience added
Yes,
to my
yes.
life overall. Well, it added really a lot of things to my life because you see, before entering this association, I sort of had some kind of experience in terms of managing music stuff, but this literally allowed me to step further into this world and to have a deeper and more regular contact with the different people, the different characters who are involved in the music business. I'd say added a much deeper and wider perspective on what making music in every possible sense looks like, from the technical aspect, because I had the chance to put into practice what I learned in the sound engineering school, to management aspects. I have a broader outlook. I have a deeper knowledge about what goes on in this world. So it added a lot to my career, but also to myself as a person. I feel I grew up.
Okay, now according to your experience even in culture and compared with the other staffs, do you see like you are adding any value to the community?
I think everyone who takes part in any cultural activity adds value to the community. If we are talking about human value, which is something we tend to overlook in the present times, because sadly it's something that took a step back, a backseat from different aspects like financial aspects, but I do think it adds a lot to the community, because working in a place like this, you are sort of a link for different experiences that converge. So your role is also to mediate, to allow the needs of different people to meet: musicians, sound engineers, bands, managers. So without this kind of activity, I think the community in terms of artistic worth would be very poor. I think it's much needed that we still have places like this where different experience can come in touch. So yes.
Okay, now coming to funding and the authority, do you have any links with the local residents, or how do you access your funding?
We do have links, but we don't have that much of an opportunity to assess proper funding, because it's not the authority. Sorry. We do have links, but there are not many initiatives of this kind who get promoted. So I'd say in Italy, generally, it's not that you have, as a cultural association, that much of a chance to assess funding when it comes to any artistic activity. So yes, we do have links, but we do not have actual funding. All the financial resources that we have are those we can actually earn. We don't have proper support from outside.
According to your experience, do you see like young people are more involved in the field of cultures in your community?
Yes, pretty much, because young people are the ones who can keep themselves up to date with what goes on in the culture world, in the culture field. So they are absolutely essential. They are up to date with the new technologies, with the things that happen, with new trends, with pretty much everything. So culture would be a completely different world without the aid of young people. So they are important and they deserve to be entrusted many aspects of the cultural activity.
Okay, what about the government in local and national level? Do you think they support youngsters to access jobs in the field of culture?
Absolutely not. It hardly supports youngsters when it comes to find average jobs. So not at all when it comes to culture. We are kind of left out, I guess. This is not a country for young people to thrive and to get proper support to offer something to the world. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Many youngsters do actually go abroad at some point. So the answer on this subject is kind of negative on my behalf,
So,
according to what I see, at least.
do you think there is any opportunity for youngsters to gain experience in the field of cultures?
Talking about Italy, where we live, there is an opportunity to do so, but it requires more time and more effort, maybe twice the amount that you will need in other countries where the cultural side of life is less overlooked and more considered. So you can actually make it. You can start with your own path and then put all your efforts into it, but you're pretty much on your own. You don't have outside sources that push you further. You have to do it on your own. So if you have the time, the passion, the willingness, and maybe also the money to fund your education in the cultural field, then you can do it. But you have to be very, very willing to put yourself into this, to put all that you have to own this. So it's difficult.
What are the obstacles for supporting culture as a job in Italy?
Well, the almost complete indifference when it comes to institution and authorities. This is a very, very, very big obstacle and a stumbling point for many. Then also the fact that everything has a price. If you need to get an education because you have to become a sound engineer, you of course have to pay enrollment fees and the likes. So you can't hope in scholarships, like the kind they offer in universities. If you're not wealthy, you will have a hard time in pursuing a career in culture. Also, working in culture is not regarded as a proper job in Italy. So if you say you work in this field, they are going to give you that weird look, So what's your actual job? do you also do something that you can pay your bills on or survive? This kind of things. And also, I have to say that I met many people who were involved in this field who only cared about profits. Even back in the day when I did my sound engineering school, there were many people involved in the organization who did not really handle the whole thing as it was supposed to be. Since it's something you normally have to pay a large amounts of money for properly because it's a rare thing. It's something that gives you something exceptional. So there was more concern in the fees and in the monetary aspect than it was on the education purpose. So the problem sometimes is also in culture itself, in the people. I'm sorry to say that, but I also met this kind of people before, and it doesn't make things easy.
Okay. In which way culture activity can foster economy and human development?
That's actually a very interesting topic because fostering the economy, I don't know, this system nowadays has a completely different kind of pace and of asset. It's all about producing, generating an income. So this is a also hard question for me to answer. I think it can foster the human development of the community because culture is actually a greatest richness that we have. We need culture because without culture we are pretty much robots doing the same thing over and over again just to get paid. But we are humans, so our human experience is made of culture too. It's literally our what makes us humans. So it can foster the human value of economy, and as such it deserves to be funded and regarded properly as something important for our life and our community and our experience.
Okay. To what extent could culture become opportunity for a youngster and even to fight unemployment in the field of young people?
To a large extent, because most youngsters are into culture in one form or another. Many youngsters, most of the people I meet actually who are more or less my age are interested in culture. They have the passion because they are young, they are fresh, they want to offer something, and maybe not everyone is cut out for a 9-to-5 average job. You know, I think that our society should allow each and every one of us to offer what we are meant to offer. There's people who is more comfortable with doing jobs outside the culture field, and there are people who want to offer something else which is equally deserving attention. And young people have the enthusiasm that it takes to launch into cultural activities. They have the knowledge, they have the time because we're young, so we can make the most of the resources we have at this age. So if the field of culture was more regarded from the authorities, it will have enormous potential of fighting unemployment among youngsters, which is a dreadful thing.
Okay. Now, according to you, and I would like to get
Yes.
this very good from you. Why do you think it's so important for the government to invest in culture, young people to invest in culture? According to you, like you can give an advice. Why do you think it's so important?
I think it's important because mainly referring to Italy, I can say that Italy has a very strong cultural tradition, as many other countries, but Italy has a peculiarity of its own in this field. So it would be a shame if something like that went missing at some point. It's important because it promotes values. Culture has a message. Culture has been used as a vehicle to transmit messages all over the world. It's a universal language, so it can make us more receptive, more also wiser in a way. And I don't know how much the government may think that it's an important aspect towards when it comes to a financial standpoint, unless it's shallow entertainment. But under a human standpoint, it's of vital importance. So it deserves to be promoted because, as I said before, without culture, we're not even humans. So we need culture. We need to share messages with any kind of people, and we do need to listen to what other cultures have to say. So it's dehumanizing to take culture out of the human experience. This is what I think.
Wow, wow. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you very much
Thank you.
for having time to share with us your experience in
My
the
pleasure.
culture field. And wow, you have a lot of experience to tell. And
Thanks.
we are very, very proud of you. We are very proud of when we see a young youth in the field of culture and like doing something is our pleasure. So it has been very, very nice to host you in our show.
Thank you very much.